Man, he was a child prodigy from the beginning of time. A 6-year-old can fall in love with the game of chess.
As a 6-year-old, he took up a game that is taken up by the most elite of people and the smartest of people.
At a very young age, his IQ was great. His accomplishments in chess were amazing.
He would read magazines, go into the back of magazines, look at the chess magazines, and see each placement of the pieces, and he would be able to go through that magazine and go through the whole game in a matter of seconds.
You know, Bobby Fischer didn't really have much competition at a young age. I mean, he played the Grand Masters in tournaments, he played good competition, but to Bobby Fischer, there wasn't really much competition at a young age and internationally.
The only competition he had was the Russian and Boris Spassky. The Russians, their national sport was chess.
He was taking them down like nothing, all except for one, and that was Boris Spassky. Boris Spassky was the reigning champion, and he was the one competitor that Bobby needed to take down. Bobby, he studied the game. He studied each and every move that these players would make. He studied their background. He studied games from when they were 5 years old, just the same as he was. He knew the ins and outs of every single move that this player was going to make.
You would think he would just practice chess, do all that, but no, he went above and beyond that. He went training in the gym. He did jump rope, push-up, even try to hold his breath as long as possible, try to gain that endurance.
I don't know many other chess players who would train that way. You know, I could see, maybe memorizing a book or practicing moves, but no, he physically trained hard, very hard.
He would know what move they were going to do 5 moves before that move. So he was just an overall genius at chess.
The 1972 World Chess Championship was one of the most legendary chess championships you would ever think of.
It's not just one game in chess that you play, it's multiple. It's almost an endurance test because it gets to your head mentally. Think about playing chess. Most people play chess for maybe 2-3 matches. This is over 10, 20 matches.
First game it started out, Bobby was supposedly stuck in traffic, but we don't really know why. But he came and he lost.
It was easily a grueling tournament because you had to play in order to get up to that championship. And once you got into the championship, you're playing a chess game against this other world's hardest guy.
The first game, Bobby played and lost. Second game, Bobby played, didn't show up. So, they gave Boris an easy 2-point advantage.
He then asked in game 3 if he could play in a secluded ping pong room. And surprisingly, Spassky actually agreed to it, which helped Bobby Fischer immensely.
Bobby Fischer was an extremely consistent person. If he did one thing, he did it every single time. He never switched up, he never did anything. But in Game 6 of the World Chess Championship, he did something completely different.
Bobby Fischer completely abandoned everything that he's done, and changed one move, and this one move threw off Spassky. Because Spassky literally studied Bobby Fischer just as much as Bobby Fischer studied Spassky. So he studied every move that he was going to do, and when Spassky saw that Bobby Fischer changed, completely threw off Spassky.
Bobby would always start out with the pawn in front of his king and move it to e4. He moved his pawn to c4, which is a traditional English style of play. And this was even challenging for grandmasters. They had no idea what he was doing here. Absolutely no idea. This is almost a rookie style of play.
He started getting bore his head. And you know, when you're playing not your consistent game against somebody, it is very hard to play against someone who is very inconsistent compared to when they're consistent.
It's insane to look at how he just deprived Spassky on this game. He played a slow and methodical game, something that usually Fischer doesn't do because he's always a go-getter. Fischer always wanted to end the game, he never wanted to draw, but this one he carefully thought out his pieces, he carefully placed them. And he just deprived Spassky of everything he had, almost like a boa constrictor, just slowly constricting his victim until finally they were just caught. The game was so well played by Fischer that when the game was over and the crowd stood up to applaud, even Spassky himself stood up and applauded Fischer.
As it went on, Bobby just kept succeeding. Game 21, he was up by 2 points. It was an all-nighter game, and Boris didn't even show up the next day because he said there is a new, and I quote, "There is a new chess champion, and his name is Robert James Fischer."
The chess championship between Russia and Bobby Fischer really was an inspiration to all of America, saying that Russia can be beat. We don't need to be scared of them.
Bobby, being the only American to even make it anywhere near where the Russians are, to take a stand, to rise up and take on the Russians on his own during a time of nationalism between both countries, is where Bobby really becomes a hero.
Battle was really in between the chess match. The chess match was the real battleground, where the real battle was going on. The Cold War, that was just a flunk. The real battle was in the chess championship in 1972.
The whole Cold War came down to one match, and Bobby came through, and Bobby took a stand against the Russians and won the game.